What's going on, everybody? What's good? This is the Fryar Place. I am your host, Irving Fryer. This is where the conversations are fire. Yeah, we're back again. It is Friday night, 7 p.m. This is our new thing for the new year. We're airing an hour later than we were last year. I believe that's a little bit convenient, I guess is the word we want to use. It's a little more convenient and optimal for people, whether you're here on the East Coast or whether you're out on the West Coast right now. We're praying for people out on the West Coast. I have a couple of friends out there who are dealing with the fires, and we want to lift them up and keep them in prayer. And even, I don't know if you've gotten a message in an email or a message, on Instagram or Facebook or something asking you to support the people out there in California who are dealing with the fires. It really is a massive mess. It's a massive mess, massive heartache. Those people are going through, so we really want to support them as much as we can. So if you do receive something and it's legitimate, asking you to donate a few dollars, every dollar makes a difference, y'all. We need to make sure that we consider ourselves. It could be someone it could be you. No one is exempt from issues. No one is exempt from tribulation, troubles, trials, or problems. So if you can and you get the opportunity, try to support as much as you can. Listen, I was waiting for my guest to come in, as you can probably see in the heading of this post or the description of this post, Mark McMillian, which was going to be a great interview. I don't know where he is. He didn't log in. He didn't sign on. He knows the show is at 7 p.m. I don't know, but the show must go on. The show must go on. So who am I talking to right now? I see that there are a few of you on who have logged in, who are watching. I have a number right here on my stream deck that lets me know how many people are watching right now. So please acknowledge yourself. Maybe what we'll do a little bit tonight is we'll talk about the 4 games we're going to see on this weekend, the divisional games of the NFL, the AFC divisional games and the NFC divisional games, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. We have tomorrow, I should say. That's going to be exciting. I like having those games on Saturday because Saturday is like a day that I don't have a whole lot to do. And I can sit around and just kind of lounge around and do nothing. I can fall asleep early, wake up for the first game. And if it's a boring game, I can fall asleep during that game and then wake up for the second game. And then the second game next on this Sunday is at 6:30. It's the Eagles game. So listen, we need to let's see if we can get. No, actually, the 3:00 game is the Eagles game. I'm sorry, the 6:30 game is the Ravens and the Bills. These are 4. Wow, Texans and the Chiefs. 4:30 tomorrow. That's Saturday. Then you got the Commanders and the Lions. That's an NFC game at 8:00 tomorrow night. That's great games. And then at 3:00 on Saturday, the Rams and the Eagles. Obviously, I got my Eagles gear on, doing my thing. Hey, Mama, I see you. Listen, my mama's not the only one watching right now. Those of you who are watching, holla at me. Let me know you're there, and we can maybe talk about some of these games. Then Sunday at 6:30, the Ravens and the Bills. My gosh, I've been listening to some of the experts, so to speak, sports experts, football experts, former players, and all of that. And half of them are picking the Bills for that game, and the other half are picking the Ravens. That's going to be, first of all, it's going to be a cold game. It's going to be cold, but these are the type of games. Even the Eagles game is supposed to be cold. It's supposed to be snowing for both of these games on Sunday. But you know what? People always, well, not always, but people will ask the question about the cold, the question about the snow, the question about the rain, if it's raining. But you know what? That's a part obviously, of the game. That's a big part of the mindset. And even when it's cold, as an offensive player, I would always try to attack or be on the aggressive side, being the hammer, not the nail when it came to a defensive back. I would always try to press the defensive back and make him respond to me as opposed to me waiting for him to do whatever he was going to do. I always tried to lead the march and be aggressive and be assertive when it came to defensive back. So for me as a wide receiver, even though I wasn't blocking all the time like linemen, I was, every now and then I got a chance to really get a good hit on a cornerback or a safety. It may happen 4 or 5 or 6 times during the game as things, progressed with a running play, or maybe someone else caught the ball and was running down the field and I get a chance to hit somebody. Can't do that these days, but we could do that back when I played. And I always was under the impression, or I always had the mindset that I'm going to hit you, and when I hit you, it's going to hurt you more than it hurts me in the cold, because it's cold. Now, on the sidelines, it was different when I played than it is now. They chill on the sidelines. Now they got heaters on the sidelines, and they just take the time and do whatever they want to do and chill on the sidelines. And when you get in the game, you're not really worried or considered or even thinking about the cold or the weather. Why? Because you have an opponent on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage from you who's trying to accomplish a goal, whether that's defensively trying to stop you from scoring offensively, or whether it's offensively trying to score on you defensively. So you're not really thinking about the cold. You're not really concerned about the cold. And then nowadays you go to the sidelines and they have warmers and jackets and things like that. They didn't have all that stuff when I played. So you really had to deal with the cold. And that's when it really started, making a difference when you were on the sidelines. But in these cold games right now, that's when you show up. That's when you prove to yourself. That's when you prove to your teammates. That's when you prove to the opposing team who you are. Who you are, yeah. So you block out whatever's going on, whether it's the cold, whether it's the snow, whether it's the rain, whether it's muddy, whatever. You block that out and you go play, and you play hard and you stay focused. And when you do that, you impose your will on your opponent. Because if your opponent happens to be yielding or giving in or weak-minded to whatever's going on in terms of the environment, then you got an advantage over them. So, and this is the time that happens during the time, this time in the season when it's the playoffs. It's cold in most places. And you do have an advantage. If you've been in the cold, you don't get used to the cold. Don't get me wrong now. Just because Buffalo Bills are in a place that's colder than the Ravens, or the Eagles are in a place that's colder than the Rams, you don't get used to the cold. You don't. Now, there's an advantage. Let me say this. There's an advantage, particularly in the beginning of the season, with teams like Miami, like Tampa Bay, like teams who play in those kinds of conditions in August and September. You have an advantage when it comes to other teams coming down and playing in that kind of environment, that heat, because again, that the heat really has a physical impact on your body. Nobody gets used to the cold. Nobody. It's just cold. Podcast with Soul. Hey, I see you, bro. How are you? Thanks for joining in tonight. Thanks for being with me. And it's there he is. He's in the green room. Let me assign him. Bring him on in. Unmute him. Guess you got yourself muted, Mark. You muted yourself. You're in the green room and you muted yourself. Yeah. But I got you in. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna bring you in. You ready, Mark? I'm gonna bring you in. This is my guest for the day, y'all. Let me put my notes up because I was trying to prepare myself for something else because he was late. Let me bring him. Are you there, bro? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. He's in the house. Good thing I
Okay,
saw you.
okay, okay,
He's in
okay.
the house. Listen, y'all. This is. I need to. He's a little bit late, so I'm gonna have to shake him up when I see him in person. Now, you don't have all day, right? You got to go somewhere else. Don't you have another
I can get.
appointment?
I was. I know it's 4:11, so we gonna go. We go. I'm gonna give you that extra 11 back, man.
Oh, you gonna
I
give
ain't
me
gonna short
that?
you like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I ain't gonna
Wait
short
a
you like
minute. You
that.
said 411. Where are you at? Where
I'm
are
in
you?
Vegas.
You in Vegas?
I'm in
Oh,
Las Vegas.
he said
Yeah.
411. No, it's 711 over here on the East Coast, brother. Yo, this is Mark McMillian, drafted in the 10th round, 1992, by the Eagles, cornerback out of Alabama. Played with the Eagles from 1992 to 1995, the Saints 1996, the Chiefs 1997 to 1998, 49ers 1999. Tell me if I'm wrong, bro. And then with me, the Redskins 1999. 8 years in
Yeah.
the NFL, 409 tackles, 23. You had 23 interceptions, bro. That's a lot, bro.
I know, I know. People always ask us like, how many
That's a
interceptions you have? I was like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. But
well, that's 23.
man,
You had 23. That's a lot of interceptions for 8 years.
yeah,
What, bro? You're a ball hawk.
and they was
404,
coming after me.
404. He had 404 yards, interception yards. So these are the yards he would get after he intercepted the ball, and 4 touchdowns as a cornerback in the league. Everybody, welcome to the Fryar Place, Mark Mighty Mouse McMillian. Yeah, where did the nickname Mighty Mouse come from, man?
um, actually, my junior college coach used to call me Sweet Pea
Uh-oh.
after the movie Popeye,
Oh,
and
really?
I just he used to call me Sweet Pea after the character after Popeye, and it just kind of snowballed into Alabama.
Uh-huh.
It was Mighty Mouse and Minnie Mouse, and Lil Mac. There was a lot of names out there, man. People, everything was little though.
Everything was
And everything was little, and just kind of took off in Kansas, in Philadelphia. Fred Barnett used to always call me Mighty Mike, and
Okay.
when I got to Kansas City, me and Andre Rison, who was Spider Man at that time,
Oh,
and
Lord.
Derek Thomas got arrested, so he was a Falcon. So the
Okay.
fans were just like, they were like, man, we got to give you a nickname. It's like you
Really?
already got the mighty part, and then they just came up with Mighty Mouse, and it just, man, the fans just went crazy. Kids were showing up in Mighty Mouse costumes. After I made a play inside the Arrowhead Stadium, they played the Mighty Mouse theme song. They played the Spider Man theme song when Dre scored a touchdown.
Wow.
So it was cool. It was crazy, man.
Wow. See, that's something I did not know, man. So I mean, I mean, you look husky now. You look healthy now.
I got a hoodie on. I got a hoodie on.
You're not gain weight right now, but you were a smaller guy. I
Yep.
mean, he was 5'7", y'all, and 8 years in the NFL. He was listed. I mean, he's been listed. You've been listed at different weights in the NFL. They listed you at 170. They listed you at 164. I mean, they listed you all the way down to 148 pounds. I saw at one point.
Yeah.
How? I
I was
mean,
one. I was 147 when I played in the
so
league.
you were actually 147 when you played.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
147. Yeah.
Wow. So you didn't start playing football, organized football, until you tried earlier because you were playing in the youth league and they cut
Hmm.
you in the youth league and you became the water boy. And talk
Yeah.
talk about that, man. Then you went and you finally played your senior year. Then you ended up going to Glendale Junior College and then on to Alabama. Talk about that journey and what that was like for you and how did you what happened in your life at a younger age that you got in your mind that you were going to be determined to get at least into high school and to college and play football?
Growing up in South Central LA, man, it was tough. It was gang violence. It was drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a kid that, back in the day, man, they always look out for somebody that they know is like going to have potential to do something to get out of the hood and
Right.
kind of represent. And I was that kid, and I was a hothead kid. I fought a lot. I had to fight. Every day was a struggle in LA, man. I had it's five of us in the household, brothers, sisters. So you fighting over dinner, you fighting over cereal, you fighting over milk.
Were you fighting
And
out in the streets? Were you fighting out in the streets? Did you
oh,
ever fight in the streets?
I fought, I fought all the time, man.
Really,
I
that's
was a
something I
vet.
did. You're such a listen. For those of you watching right now, Mark is one of the most pleasant people to be around. No, I know him. I've spent time with him. He's one of the most pleasant people to be around. I would never have thought that you were a fighter when you were younger, man.
Yeah, yeah. If my mom was on this podcast, she'll tell you, man. There was one time I almost went to jail for
Uh-oh.
fighting in school.
Mm,
But that was just my mentality, man. I think that's why playing in the NFL, playing in college, even my Pop Warner. Like I said, when I was young, they said I was too small. The
mm-hmm.
first time I got a carry, and I was practicing with the guys. These are guys I grew up with, running the streets with. And I was like, man, I just need to get out of the streets and be a part of something so I won't get killed on these streets. And
Wow.
I went up for the team, and first time I ever touched the ball, I remember this play. It was called cross buck left.
Cross
I was a
Butler.
tailback. Yes, and I took it to the house about 70, and everybody's like, "Yo, dude's got some wheels." And they had their guy already, and I think maybe I was a threat to him or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I
Uh-huh.
came back to practice the next day, and they was like, "Well, you didn't make weight." And back then, guys were putting sand in their thigh pads and rocks in their thigh pads to make weight. And I was like, well, why can't I just put sand in my pants, just to make weight? I just want to, be a part of the team. And they said,
Right.
well, we have an opportunity for you. You can be our athletic trainer. And, back then, man, nobody knew nothing about no athletic trainer. And they're like, well, you could just, be the water boy. And I was thinking, like,
Oh,
man, I always thought, remember Grandma said, whatever you do, be the best at it that you can. And
right.
I just knew if I didn't do that, I would have been right back on the streets, hanging with the wrong crowd, and probably, end up dead somewhere. So I just took the job, and man, my guys were coming off the field. I was running on the field, giving them water. I was on the
Right.
yellow bus in the front with the 6-pack water
Right.
coolers and all
Right.
that. And after that, man, I just kind of lost love for the game. I was like, man, I was so devastated.
Right.
But at the same time, I was like, well, what are you going to do? You can't sit here and cry. My mom and grandma, there's like, you can't be around here moping around. Like, you got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be laying up in here and eating our food, you better do something.
Get a job. Get a job. Man, that's awesome to have that kind of awareness of the fact that, okay, if I don't do something, I'm going to end up. Because when I was young, Doc, I ain't had no sense. I didn't have that kind of awareness that I just did crazy stuff and didn't even think about the consequences or didn't even think about how it was going to impact my future or even whether I was going to die or not. I did stuff that,
Mhm.
yeah, I could have easily died. On in the teenage years, not just young, on in through high
Yeah.
school and college doing crazy stuff, man. But that's amazing that you had that kind of awareness at such a young age that you knew you needed to do something to keep you busy or keep you
Yep.
focused on some other area because if you didn't, the streets were going to end up doing some damage in your life.
Yeah, I saw a lot of guys, going to jail.
Okay.
Saw a lot of dead bodies at 12, 13 years old. I saw way too many dead bodies than I should have saw, and
Wow.
way too many fights. The Crips and the Bloods. We were in the blue neighborhood. You just couldn't cross the train tracks at a certain area. Else,
Wow.
you're gonna get ran home. And I think that's how I got fast, man. I was always running away from people, man.
Hey, that'll make you fast. If you dodging bullets and running from folks, yeah, that'll make you fast, Doc. Make you fast and elusive.
Yeah,
And make
yeah.
you elusive too. You been ducking, getting, yeah, man. So in 1997, you were the Chiefs. It's just amazing to me, man. I'm doing research on you, and where'd he go? And I've known him for a while. Oh, there he is. He went out
Yeah,
and came
someone was
back
trying to
in.
call. Yeah,
Somebody trying to call
my
you.
wife was
You
trying to
got to
call.
put
Yeah, it
that
was the
thing
wife.
on mute or whatever it is. So this is amazing to me. I know you like in your current state, and I knew you when I played with you just for that small portion of time
Mm.
in Washington. But in 1997 with the Chiefs, you led the NFL in interception return yards. You were hot, man, and you tied for second that particular year in interceptions with 8.
Yeah, I was on fire, man. I was on
I mean,
fire, man. I
how
was
what did you do? I mean, what did you do as a guy who was undersized? I'm not going to say you were
mm,
small. You were just an undersized guy. How did you figure out? Because this is a different era of time. It's not today's football. This is when
yeah.
it was, you can get
Oh, it was
smoked.
hard.
You get smoked.
Yeah.
If you didn't know what you were doing, you get smoked. This is an era of
Yeah.
football where football was old fashioned football, so to speak, and you're an undersized guy playing in the league. I mean, what did you do? How did you figure out based on what it took for you as a guy who was shorter, lighter, to play with these cats? I mean, what'd you do when you had a not an Eric Dickerson, but you had a 225 pound back running at you, and it's you and him.
I was mad when I left New Orleans. I was there for I signed one of the biggest deals of my life with the Saints. It was me and I think
He keeps going in and out. You went out again. You froze. Where's your Wi-Fi, man? I need you to get on good Wi-Fi. What you doing? Change
man,
your
that's
Wi-Fi.
yeah, yeah. So
If
it
somebody
was
keeps
me and
calling you, is somebody calling you
yeah,
again?
yeah, yeah. But they just text, so we're good now. So
Okay.
we're good. So yeah, I signed a really good deal. I think it was the kid Brown from the Cowboys who won the Super Bowl MVP,
Uh-huh.
and it was me and him who were the top guys that was free agents that year. And he ended up went to the Raiders. I ended up going to the Saints. Had a pretty good year there, and then the coach Mora stepped down, and you know how that goes, man. A new coach come in, and if you're not his
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
and Mike Dicker came in and
Ooh.
never
Ooh.
said one word to me. He never
Mike
said
Dicker.
one
Ooh.
word to me. We're in training camp. Yeah, man. I think
I
if I
would have
still see him,
left.
I might suplex him, man.
I would have left. If he came near
I
the
did
mic, I'd have
leave.
left. I would just left.
I did leave after 1 year. I told my agent through training camp. I was like, you gotta get me out of here. So there's no way I
Right.
can play in this system under this guy. And they released me, and then we got an opportunity to go to Kansas City. He was at Kansas City or the Rams, and Marty and them made me a deal, man, because they had Dale Carter and James Hasty already at the corners, and I was like, well, I just started 4 years in Philly. Like I'm not coming off the bench. Like I'm
Right.
a starter. So they changed. That's when three wide started being more popular
Mm-hmm.
back in '97, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to play you like a starter because they're going three wides now.
Right.
We'll line
Right.
Hasty up on maybe the tight end, and you and Dale could just do what you guys do on the corner." And he didn't let me leave Kansas City. And obviously, if I would have went to the Rams, I would have won the Super Bowl. But I had a great time in Kansas City, man. And
uh,
I was just in the zone, man. I was like, man, I've been released. Man, when you get cut, man, it sucks. And
yep.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
That whole offseason, man. I know the fans just see it. It's a job, man. It's embarrassing. It hurts. You got to move your whole family.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
messing with your money.
Messing with your money.
You-
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and
That's the big part.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then went to Kansas City, man, and just idolizing
Yeah.
from Alabama.
Right.
And we just had so much fun on that defensive side of the ball. And they wasn't coming Hasty's way. They wasn't coming. Uh, that's what they used to say. I was like, just soften them up for me, guys, because they were physical corners. I was like,
Right.
just
Right.
soften them up for me. And
Right.
then when the time come third down, they're probably going to come over here. And every
Uh-huh.
time they came over, man, I was locked in. I was
He's
like, you,
locked
you picked
in.
the wrong guy today.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome, man. What was Dale Carter? You mentioned Dale Carter. He's the only defensive back. He's the only corner that I ever had, meaning I didn't like. I was gonna say I ever had a problem with, but he's the only one that I didn't like, that I had a personal thing against him because he cheap shotted me a couple of times before. I don't know if Dale was like that or not, but I was down in Miami playing with the Chiefs, and I'm running a route, just running down the field. Actually, the ball was on the other side of the field, and he cut me in my thigh. He hit me in my thigh. He just dove at my thigh like he was tackling me. And I'm running the route. Ball's on the other side of the field, and he gave me a deep thigh bruise. So that day, I scored a touchdown on him that day. And I let it go. But then we're in the Pro Bowl a couple of years later because I was with Philly, and he hit me. In the Pro Bowl, we play and we try to take care of each other. We play physical, but I caught a ball and he hit me in my knee, and I had a sore knee at the time. So I actually got put out the game at that point. The coach took me out because I grabbed him and tried to throw him on the ground, and we were wrestling and carrying on. So I got a chance to get him back the next year. I put him out the game. I mean, I had a habit of stepping on guys' toes and twisting their ankles and grabbing them in the face mask. That's what I did. I grabbed and rake my hands through his face mask. And
I know. I had to guard you. I know.
So you were there.
I know. I had to guard you.
Did you?
No, I'm saying when I was with Kansas City when you were with the Eagles.
Okay. Well, I didn't do that to you. I didn't do that to you. I was just physical.
Yeah, you were nice, but you were very physical, and I was like, and I was, it was my mindset. I said, no, Irv's going to be physical. I know they're going to try to come at me, and I was pissed off because the Eagles didn't sign me back too. So I was like, oh, I'm about to go home and make these jokers pay, man. Then Rodney, they went to the well one too many times. Rodney Pete threw me an interception that sealed the game. And
who was he throwing the ball to when he threw the interception? Who was he throwing it to?
I don't know who he was throwing it to. I caught it, so I don't know who he's throwing it to. But I wasn't worried about that. I was like, man, if they throw this ball over here one more time, I'm gonna make him pay. But Dale, man, he was probably one of the best pure athletes as far as cornerbacks.
Oh, he was. But he and I, man, we battled, man, because I just ended up not liking him. He was the only defensive player that I had that did anything like that. That was cheap. It was cheap shots. I didn't mess with people. I didn't talk on the field. I didn't do a whole lot of that kind of stuff. I played hard. Shake your hand afterwards. Okay, I'll see you next time. But, with that cheap stuff, man, he just.
Yeah. Well, people used to call me dirty, too. They used to call me. What I learned from the best, man. Dirty Waters, Wes Hopkins. I wouldn't say I was dirty, but if you leave them knees open, I got a problem with them hanging out. I got a problem with them hanging out. I was like, because I know once receivers they get a little hitch, and you were good at that. I was like, man, if they give Herb a hitch, I got to bring him down somehow. And Sterling Sharp was the same way. Sterling was like, right. Man, he's like, if they give me a hitch, Lil Mac, it's gonna be trouble. And I was like, man, I know.
I'm gonna have to.
And that was a good thing about. Yeah, and that was a good thing about competition back then, man. Once the ball hiked, once it was whistle, like you could be cool in the off season, but when we were playing, man, I wasn't trying to be friends with guys, man. I was taught to not help guys up. Andre Waters punched me in the back of the head my rookie year when I ended up starting my rookie year because I was going down to help Emmett up. Dude, he punched me in the back of the head. He said, "Don't you ever help another opponent up." He said, "We're not built like that." He said, "They don't like us, and we don't like them."
Right,
and that was just my mentality.
Not when you got an opposing uniform on and we're on the field.
Yeah.
I said something about that in one of my podcasts a couple of weeks ago, is that I see today in the game some of these, and it's not just, I cover the Eagles and whatnot, do a lot of stuff with the Eagles, but not just with the Eagles, but all around the league. You see cats picking other, the opposing team's offensive player, defensive player, picking them up off the ground, giving them a hand up. You see them in when it's a timeout or somebody may be hurt, or whether it's whatever it is, changing quarters. They're on the field and they're keying and shaking hands and laughing at one another and playing. I'm like, No, not today. Not game time.
We can do it. We can do that. We can do that in the off season. And sometimes, back then it carried over to the off season.
Yes, sir.
Like it was like, man, I can't wait.
I got a friend of mine, two friends of mine. Ronnie Lepet is his name. He was a corner for the Patriots when I played for the Patriots. He still, how long ago was that? That was in the 80s. It was the 80s. He still can't stand Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. If he sees him now, he'll try to fight him now. From way back then. That's how personal it got. Crazy, man. So listen, you came out of the league and you started doing something that I just don't do. You started cooking, man. That's not a skill that I have. It's not a talent that I have. But man, you do it and you do it well. I've had an opportunity to spend some time with you, actually to eat your cooking, man. You on the second season of Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay. Let me show this real quick, and it's gonna come right back to us. All right, it's gonna come right back to us.
From someone that is a big sporting fan, I know everyone standing behind you is going to miss you, and I'm going to miss you personally. You've been incredible.
Thank you very much, Chef.
Do not stop cooking.
Yes, Chef, absolutely.
Good man.
I was blessed enough to have an opportunity and compete on Next Level Chef. Come on now. Sir. I don't go home a loser. I'm a winner in my heart.
That was awesome, man. what was, I mean, first of all, that took place right before Super Bowl, or was it right after Super Bowl 57? Was that right after 57?
It was right before. We were in actually we were in London. We filmed that in London, England. A lot of people thought we were in Las Vegas, but we're in London. And I was still doing my radio show here in Vegas, up early, and then trying to get some rest and concentrate on what I was doing. But like I said, man, every time I see a clip or see one of the chefs do something creative on the show, and now they're coming out with season 4. We had the highest ranked numbers of any TV reality show ever. Like we crushed. It's like almost 1 billion views because it came on right after the Super Bowl, which it was the perfect storm.
And both teams that were in the Super Bowl, you played for the Eagles and the Chiefs. Super Bowl 57. So that was awesome.
Yeah, that was something we were talking about before I even got a chance to go on the show. I was like, how cool would it be if the Eagles and the Chiefs end up playing in the Super Bowl? It's like, that would be the perfect storm. And then when it hit, because I couldn't tell nobody for a whole year. And then once people started seeing the show, when the show came on, my phone was blowing up. People was like, yo, dude, is that you on Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay?
So what was that? Tell us what that experience was like, man. I mean, you started cooking. I mean, you submitted your name. It was like 10,000 people that submitted their name, and you got chosen. What, 15, 20 people? I don't know how many people were there, but it was just a handful of people out of 10,000 people. What do you think got you in?
Gordon loves football players, man. He loves the NFL. And the guy that kind of got me a shoe in, he was a huge Eagle fan. And he was like, Mark, I know there's probably a good deal that we can get you on the show with Gordon Ramsay. I was like, I'm not getting on any of Gordon's shows if he's going to belittle me, scream at me, curse me out, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, we will be fighting on the set. And they was like, no, it's not that kind of show. It's more of a cooking show, more like a mentorship. And I was like, man, cool. That would be great. And then until you get on that stage and the cameras start lighting up and 5 minutes and Gordon's in your ear, people are watching the show. There's like, dude, I don't know how you did it in 45 minutes under that kind of pressure. But man, we played in front of 500 people in high school to 100,000 people. I was like, dude, you just lock in and just do what you have to do. And I was like, man, that plane ride was 20-something hours. Like, I ain't getting back on that plane tomorrow.
Wow. So obviously football, as you said, helped you, under the pressure, because those cooking shows, my wife and I watch them all the time. Top Chef, all that stuff, Chop, all that stuff. And that seems to be what gets those people who lose or get put off the show. It's the time and having to get the meal prepared or the dish prepared in a limited amount of time, and that always seems to be the Achilles heel for whoever winds up losing and being put off the show. So for you, how did football help you deal with the pressure of like getting through it and making sure you were able to at least finish and present something that was presentable, so you at least look you didn't look like an idiot.
That was that time. You just think, like I said, I was just trying to put myself in the football mind state. But man, once the lights came on and we found out it was Gordon Ramsay, and you saw the platform, whatever you grab, that's what you got to grab. It's not like you can go in your fridge, like, let me get some cheese, some milk, some cream. No, whatever's on that platform, you got to grab and then take it back to your station and try to make a meal, like you said, that's presentable and edible. Because if it ain't edible, man, Gordon, man, he does not hold back. But it was after the first episode. If people haven't seen it, you can still see it on Hulu. Man, when I dropped that shrimp, I missed the platform. I miscalculated my time, And Gordon was just screaming at me with like a minute. I was like, oh shoot, I got some time. Let me go and plate this, make it look real nice. Man, before I knew it, I was running to the platform and dropped my plate.
No 5 second rule, huh?
There was no side,
No 5
and
second rule.
man, by the grace of God, I made these bomb garlic shrimp. Man, they were so bomb. The flavor was there. The presentation was cool. I cut the heads off. I fried them crispy so I could have a good presentation on them. And but like I said, man, one shrimp made it to the plate. I don't know how because we were on the second level. It went all the way to the basement.
No.
So they managed to grab one shrimp, and you know, people see the episode. They were like, I just knew. I was like, oh shoot, I'm going to the crib. Ain't no way. I ain't got nothing to eat. I'm going home.
Wow.
And then Chef Tucker, my teammate, ended up winning the overall competition.
Right.
And when you win that, you save your team. So she was able to save me for another round. And man, dude, I told my guys back in Vegas, I ain't doing no more radio shows. Dude, I was studying like it was a playbook. I'm looking up recipes.
Really?
I was like, you gotta lock in, man, because this is a chance of a lifetime that they're giving you.
Right.
And you need to rise up to the occasion. So that next segment, man, I was on fire.
So you did well the next segment.
Oh, I crushed it the next segment.
Okay,
I think I did. I think it was turkey taco. So I grabbed a big old turkey breast, which was probably like a 5-pound turkey breast, and I was like,
wow.
Man, I've never had a turkey breast this big. And I was like, oh, I'm from Cali, tacos, Mexican guacamole, salsa. So I crushed it, man, and made some turkey tacos that was really good. And I got my confidence back after that. I was like, oh shoot, let's go.
Wow. So how'd you get at that level? How did you get started cooking at that level? Because when you talk about cooking, you know, I'm thinking grilling in the backyard. I'm thinking, boiling some eggs. You know, maybe making some oatmeal in the morning. That's when you ask me to cook, that's what you're gonna get. I mean, but that stuff, because I see some of the cooking shows, and they open the basket. Let's say Chop. They open the basket.
Yep.
And they pull out stuff I ain't never heard of before. That I ain't never seen. I'm like, how do they know what that is? How do they know what to do with that?
Yeah.
And what it goes with, and what to mix it with, So how did you get to that level, and when did you get to that level?
Before the show, I knew I had a year before I was going there because they were looking at my post before. They were like, and I was like you, man. I was just putting some ribs on the plate, throwing an egg on there. Presentation was terrible. And they were like, Gordon is huge on presentation. It's like, you got to start bettering your photos. And when I started, changing up the game on Facebook, everybody's like, dude, your plating is like getting really good. Not knowing that I was doing that for them to look at, to kind of, give me an extra opportunity to make it to the show. And like I said, I was cooking everything, bro. Because I was like, if I get on that show, whatever I grab, I got to be able to cook. So I was just mussels, clams, fish, whatever it was, exotic animals. I was just grilling and cooking it all because I just never knew
what kind of exotic animals, man, were you cooking?
Deer, squirrel. I was.
Uh-oh, he went back out again. Somebody must be calling him again. He said deer, squirrel, and then he went out. People don't eat squirrel no more, man. That's when I was a kid. My uncle used to go out and kill squirrel and bring it back home and skin it in the kitchen, and we'd eat squirrel for dinner right there.
Yeah, if you watch season 2, they had cow tongue on there, and the girl actually made Gordon was like, these are the best tacos I ever had in my life. She braised a cow tongue in 45 minutes. Her name is Tiny. She is crushing it right now. She's got like 10 million followers on social media. She is crushing it right now. And just, it was, big old fish. You got to fillet, like everything right there. You got to do it yourself.
Right.
You got to fillet the fish. You got to debone the turkey. Like you got to do everything yourself. So man, I learned so much. So now, when I do these cooking gigs, I'm like, this is, you give me a grill or some hot pans, man. Everybody's like, what do you like to cook? I will cook anything.
Really?
I will make anything taste good. Yeah, I will make anything taste good.
You got it like that now, huh? So
I am pretty good, man.
So are you thinking about trying to get back on one of the shows?
If they have me back on, I think they were going to try to bring our season 2 back. That was like the rumors because our numbers were so high.
Yeah.
And we had a really good cast. and a lot of people really bought into the show. Especially my NFL brothers, man. Everybody was like, "Bruh, you was on the cooking show with Gordon Ramsay." So all those numbers were coming in, and they were seeing those numbers. So if I had an opportunity to go on the show again, man, I would do it in a heartbeat. But not guaranteed that you're gonna win anything, but just have an opportunity for the fans
Yeah.
to see what
Yeah.
we're doing now, to see how we improve now. Because I don't care how good of a cook you are, everybody got the same 45 minutes.
Right. And that's the Achilles heel. People just it's pressure. It causes pressure. It causes people to panic. I remember when the show came on, the season 2. I think I saw it repeated, but then I was like, Mark McMillian. I know it. And my wife loves cooking. She likes cooking. I'm like, I know that cat. I played with him. I played against him. I know him. What is he doing on here? And you were doing a great job, man. You're doing a great job. Let's talk about this for a minute, because obviously you're cooking now. You're doing a phenomenal job, like I said, and it's legitimate, everybody. I've had his food. I've been several places where he has cooked, and it's
I'm
legit.
glad you said that.
It's legit.
I'm glad you say that, because people be like, dude, you probably got that from a restaurant and plated it up.
No. Homeboy. No, I was actually the last place that I ate your food, I was watching you cook. So I was watching him cook. I was there while he was using the grill and the stove and everything. Yeah. No, I watched it. So it's legitimate. He's legit, and it was very, very good. So I know I'm a witness, from first-hand witness, live witness. But listen, before you started cooking, there was a time, and this is like with most of us. There was a time, obviously, you come out of football, then you try to figure out what it is you're going to do after football. Because I don't care if you play in the NFL 17 years like I did. You're still a young man when you finish. I was in my late 30s when I finished, but I'm still a young man. And most cats don't play that long. Obviously, I think the average is like 3.5 years now in the NFL. But you had trouble. It was a struggle for you transitioning. I read something about that, like there is for most of us. Talk about that for a minute, because that's what the Fryar Place is all about. I have my former teammates on, my former NFL players, professional sports players who come on. But this podcast or this show is about the challenges of life. And it's about the challenges that we have, and how we triumph, how we get victory over those challenges. And for many professional athletes, it's a challenge. It's a struggle. Coming out of professional sports, I don't care if you got a lot of money or not. Making that transition you can get lost, man. You can get lost, you can feel lost, and you can go down and go into the dark and never recover if you're not careful, if you don't have help, if you don't have a support system. Talk about that transition for yourself.
It was tough, like you said, man. I wasn't a drinker in sports. Didn't smoke, didn't do all that. But once I was my last year in Washington, I'm thinking like, man, we had a really good team. We were a kick away from going to the championship game in Tampa Bay, man. And then I didn't get the opportunity to play no more after that. It was over. I was like, man, I went from starting in the NFL, playing in a playoff game, to never playing football again in my life. And man, I just started drinking. My kids were always,
I'm sorry, I didn't laugh. I wasn't a drinker. I started drinking.
Man, I started drinking. I started partying, doing stuff that was way out of my character, man. I just remember my son was like, "Why is Dad always sleeping and tired?" And when he said that, I was like, "Man, you got to get up and stop feeling sorry for yourself. You still got a lot of life to live." I was like, 27, 28 when I retired.
Right.
So, I just started doing football camps, and I started working in juvenile facilities with youth kids for 3 years. And that just gave me a sense of purpose, man, to be like, you have accountability. You got to watch these kids. These kids are looking at you as, the former football player, like the macho guy. And here I am as like, I just wanted to humble myself as much as I could. I took a warehouse job, just working in the warehouse. And, I know that was God God said, "Hey, man, I gave you all this,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think you really appreciate it as much as you should have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna strip that all away.
Wow.
I'm gonna strip everything from you,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm gonna put you in this warehouse where you're in here putting socks in boxes, and people are looking at you and with the side eye, like, what are you doing in here? Like
Right.
you got money in the bank, you play in the league, and
Right.
God
Right.
don't care about that, man. He was,
Right.
and that was good for me, and because if not, I was feeling myself. I was like, man, I played in the league, I got money, I got cars, but all I was just stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was just stuff that you're making payments on
Mm-hmm.
that depreciated once you drive it off the lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like my calling was working with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started working in that juvenile facility and seeing these kids doing the same thing that I was doing, running the streets, getting in trouble, surviving for their lives,
Right.
some of the worst conditions that you could think of. I was like, man, God brought me back to a place where I grew up in.
Mm.
So how are you going to teach these kids
Mm-hmm.
the values and core values and instill in these kids to try to do the same thing that you did to get out of that situation? Because they wasn't listening to their dad, they wasn't listening to their mom, they listened to their homeboys, and then they were listening to me because I played football. And that
Right.
platform we have,
Right.
I never take that for granted.
Right.
I will use it till the cows come home. If that opens up a door for me to bless a kid or help somebody out, man, I'll run through that door 100%. It's like, did you play football? Can you talk to these kids? Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids listen because we played football.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it's crazy because the parents always say, I tell this boy, I tell this young lady the same thing you said, but they don't listen. And then the great thing about it, when you get an email or a phone call said, thank you for talking
man.
to my son or talking to my daughter, because you didn't have to come here.
Right.
And
Right.
for me, I'm like, yes, I did have to come here.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do that. I
Mhm.
can't. Time is ticking.
Mhm.
I'm on the other side of 50 now, and I'm hitting my second career, and then being on that show kind of just revitalized my career. Now all of a
Good.
sudden, people were like inviting me to cooking events, and now I'm going to the Super Bowl to cook as a chef.
Oh, you going to the Super Bowl down in New Orleans this year?
I am part of the Taste of the NFL. I will be cooking at the Super Bowl. So me and Chef Daryl Schuler, he's the first African American to be named Master Chef.
Wow.
There's only 60 in the whole wide world. And when
That's
the
awesome.
people reached out, is like, hey, how would you like to be a part of the Taste of the NFL? I signed autographs last year, and they were like, what are you doing signing autographs? Like, you should be on the stage cooking with these chefs. I was on these Food Networks. I was
Hey,
like, well,
I'm
make it
gonna
happen.
hey, man, I'm coming stay in your room with you, man.
Hey, them rooms expensive, man. Them rooms are expensive
That's
down
what I
there.
said. I'm coming stay in your room.
New Orleans, we're doing a barbecue brisket beignet.
What the heck
So
is a
we're doing
beignet, man? What's a beignet? Holla at me.
It's the
Tell me.
donut. It's the powdered donut. It's the donut, powdered, fluffy, and it has a powdered sugar. It's at
Okay.
Cafe Du Monde. You never been there?
No.
Oh my gosh, bro! Them beignets are world famous. So
I don't even know what a beignet is. I know now, but I never beignet.
Dude. I guarantee your wife know what a beignet is. She could be like, boy.
Listen, what's my last name? What's my last name?
Fryer.
Chicken, bro. That's what I do. Chicken. Beignet. Come on, a beignet. No, give me some chicken and I'm good. I'll eat chicken 7 days a week. My wife be like, don't you want to eat something besides chicken? I'm like, my last name's Fryar. I eat chicken.
Oh man. Yes, that's great, man. I'm excited for that opportunity.
That's great, yeah.
And then I got 3 more cooking opportunities in Scottsdale, Arizona next year. I'm partnered up with some chefs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this year's gonna be cool, man. I know I talked to Barry Brooks. Somebody in Atlantic City wanted me to do a Gorilla McMillian barbecue pool party down in Atlantic City this year.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that, man. So we'll bring all the boys on out, and we'll make sure we get you some chicken out there too, man.
Okay, make sure you holler. Atlantic City's right down the street. I can make that one. I don't know about New Orleans. I don't know if I can get down to New Orleans. I might see you there. I might not see you there. But man, that's great. But that transition from professional sports into normal life, I guess the next career, the next chapter of your life is a real thing. I think the athletes today, I think they do a better job than we did in handling that, because
Yeah.
they have a plan when they come in. I didn't have a plan. I don't know if you did or not. When I came into the NFL, I didn't have a plan. I really didn't, because I never really wanted to play professional sports. So that transition for me, it ended up being a little bit smoother because I started TV and then the Lord called me to pastor. But I didn't have a plan. I did not have a plan. I did not plan to do certain things. It just kind of happened for me. So those things that took place, like with doing announcing down at CNNSI in Atlanta and up here with ABC Channel 6, they just kind of happened. So they kept me busy, and I didn't get a chance to struggle through my transition. I sure wish I would have stayed with TV though, because now I'm a Poe preacher. I could be retired with second career now, getting 2 pensions right now, and now I'm just a Poe preacher. But that's all right. We're doing the Lord's work. We're helping people.
Yeah,
we're helping people.
Yeah.
So, Grilling McMillian, you're talking about your career. You got your sauce picture up, and you tell us what this picture means. What is
that? That's the Gorilla McMillian pizza right there at Evil Pie Pizza here in Las Vegas. So each probably like 3 times a year, I collaborate with Evil Pie Pizza, and we do a pizza using my olive oils and my barbecue sauce, and we help raise money. We raise money for the Nathan Adelson Hospice Care Center here, as well as the St. Jude's Ranch for Children here. So we always do a charity give back, even with hamburgers, tacos. I know it's a restaurant in Arizona. I was just there last week. A guy was like, "Hey, man, we need to do a collaboration with your sauce and your seasons with my tacos." So a lot of people are coming out now and using the products. The products are great. I stand behind them 100%. It's a family recipes named after my grandparents. Cooking with Clara, Boom 3.0. Suiting and Booting was named after my granddad because he was always suited and booted. Back in the day, granddads, they always wore suits and ties. Wherever they went, they were always
well, they had well, that's something that they set in terms for themselves, because they didn't want to ever be seen by the white man looking less than.
Yep.
So they set a standard for themselves to always have a suit. Even if they were out cutting the grass in the front yard, they had a suit and tie on.
Oh, that was my granddad, and he'd just roll his sleeves up and be out in the front yard cutting his grass out. We was like, and I still to this day, every time I go on any kind of interview, some kind, when I do the Raiders pre and post game show, guys are like, "Hey, we're gonna be relaxed today." I was like, "No, I'm suit and tie."
There you go.
Every time I'm on TV, man, I'm suit and tie. So shout out to my granddad up in heaven, man. He put that on me.
Yep. Don't ever let them see you less than. Always let them see you when they see you at your best, doing your best. I see his Gorilla McMillian on your sweatshirt right there. Where can people find not just the sweatshirt, but where can they find your sauces and your olive oils? You said you have olive oil too, right?
I got 5 infused olive oils. I got a lemon, I got a garlic, I got a mesquite, and I have a sriracha. So people that like the little spice. So those are all available now on my website, grillandmcmillan.com. So you can go on there and check it out. My sauces are in production now. I ran out. This is like my 3rd time running out of the sauce.
Really?
Because Ace Hardware stores. There's 4 in Arizona that serve it, and there's 4 Ace Hardware stores here and Barbecue Concepts that carry my sauce here in Las Vegas as well. So this will be my 4th round going around getting sauce. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
So it's grilling, y'all. It's GRILL. Is that apostrophe N apostrophe N? McMillian. McMillian. Grilling McMillian.
Yep. You can just you can spell Grilling McMillian wrong, and it's going to pop up, which is great. That means a lot of people were ordering, a lot of people on that website. So I'll finally get that algorithm when you put in Grilling McMillian, my whole website comes up.
I'm gonna grab some from my wife because she likes to cook. Let's talk a little football before I let you go, bro, because I gotta let you go. So when you started here in Philadelphia, you actually came aboard and then ended up being a starter on, at the time, the #1 defense in the league. So you were hot, and that whole defense was hot. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So right now, the Eagles in the playoffs, the Eagles defense, and I'm sure you pay attention, you're watching,
Yep.
you're staying up to date with what's going on. The Eagles defense is the number one defense right now in the NFL. Compare the two.
It's hard because of the day and age is hard.
Yeah.
I will say they front four do get after it. Their front four really get after it. They finally got a linebacker that can come downhill and hit somebody.
Exactly.
We've been waiting for that for a long time. I know
Right.
Byron Evans, Seth Joyner always talk. We've been talking about that for a long time. So now they finally got some guys that's not afraid to come up and smack dudes in the mouth.
Uh-huh.
And they have a really good front four. There's no way you can compare the front four we had. It's not fair to these guys. And
Well,
what
tell
they're
the people
doing
so
now.
they know. Tell the people so you know. That's Reggie White and
Jerome Brown,
Jerome.
Mike Pitts, Golick, Clyde Simmons. We have
Simmons,
we have B&E in the middle. Eric is on one side. I was on the other side as a rookie. Seth Joyner, Willie T. And then we have probably one of the most ferocious hitters in the back there, Wes Hopkins and Andre Waters. So our defense was it was like pick your poison, and Andre Waters got rest his soul, who they named Dirty Waters.
Right.
His whole deal was like, either you go to sleep or I'm going to sleep.
Right.
He should tell receivers that, and receivers are like, I got to make a choice. But back then, receivers didn't care. Like, you were a physical receiver, you went across the middle, Sharp, Andre Reed, like receivers are going across the middle, and they knew they were going to get hit.
Right.
But as a defensive player, when you guys just get smacked, it was like, and you guys get right back. I was like, man, they tougher than we thought they were. We got a long,
got a long
day. Now you hit these dudes, man. It is like they looking for flags, and
you don't even have to hit them, man. It's crazy now. My thing was this, because back then, you could still crack back. You could still catch guys, if they were chasing.
I saw some of your crackback.
Yeah.
I saw some of your crackback.
If they were chasing a player down the field, you could smack them. I used to tell our receivers, if you catch the ball, run towards me, because whoever's chasing you, I'm gonna take them out. And so my thing, if a DB ever got a good hit on me, I would get up and say, "That's all you got? Now it's my chance to hit you." And then I'd chase him all over the field trying to get him the rest of the game.
But they got a really good defensive unit. I really like the kid, number 27, McMillian.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Mitchell. Man, dude, he just reminds me so much of a young Eric Allen.
Okay.
He's just really scratching the surface.
Right.
He is a steal. So Howie and them, they got a magic wand over there to get all these boys. But they're doing good, and I know a lot of people are on Jalen and tell people it's like, well, he's AJ's not getting the ball or whatever. But if you know the game and you watch the game, teams are playing two high safeties. They're playing two high safeties because they're not going to give up the deep ball.
Right.
So you got to work. They're going to make them work.
Right.
People like Saquon. I was like, why do you think Saquon went for 2,000?
Yeah.
Because the safeties were high. Like they're not in the box.
Right.
Now he's a great talent. That's not taking anything away from him. But when you have that extra safety in the box, which last week they did, and you saw, a couple of times when they brought that safety down, man, Saquon was back there juking in the backfield before he can even get started.
But they can only do that so many times. Why? Because now you open things up for the passing game. And the Eagles have so much talent. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. Did you see what Dallas Goedert did last week? Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that was I heard him in the clip. He said, I let him catch up to me so I can smack him again.
He let him catch up to him. That's crazy. That's crazy. So before you go, I'm going to let you go, man. First of all, I appreciate you being on tonight. Always good talking to you, my brother. I'm going to have you back because we just scratched the surface tonight. So at some point in another couple of months, I'm going to have you back on the show. All right. We're going to talk some more nitty gritty. Maybe we'll do some stuff, about one of the events that you're doing or one of the cooking appearances that you're having. But I want you to make some picks, okay, for this week. Maybe you'll make a pick and you'll help somebody out who's watching right now. So we got 4 games. All four of these games, I think, are going to be really good games. I hope so. They're going to be real good games. You got 2 games tomorrow. The first game tomorrow is the Texans at the Chiefs.
When he got number 15, you can't go against 15.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. He proved that they won back-to-back Super Bowls. And I know people are like, well, his numbers are different from this year.
Don't matter.
But they've been winning the last 2 years off their defense. Like, he hasn't been lighting up the scoreboard in these Super Bowls. Their defense has been creating turnovers and making plays and stopping the other high-powered offenses from scoring. And, I got to go with the Chiefs in this one, man. I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. You just can't.
Well, it's tough too. I mean, even when you talk about the fact that he's not passing the ball as much or for as many yards as most quarterbacks, or like he was earlier in his career. To go back to Super Bowl 57, Jalen Hurts, he passed for 300 yards in that game. Patrick Mahomes passed for 100 and some yards in that game, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and then
won the Super Bowl. Yeah.
So it's it's just a matter of defense, like you said, and Patrick doing whatever he needs to do whenever it needs to be done. And
you got Andy Reid. You got Andy Reid in your head.
Andy Reid. Well, and plus they've had almost 21 days off. The starters.
Yes.
Because they didn't
which is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a long time. So I expect them to they're going to start a little slow. Because you just can't take that many days off and still just ramp it up.
Right. But remember last year, and this was so impressive to me. They had to play the wild card week last year. So they went to Miami and beat Miami, went to Buffalo and beat Buffalo, went to the Ravens and beat the Ravens to get into the Super Bowl, and then won the Super Bowl. Man, that's you don't do that. Those three teams right there. They went on the road and beat those teams to get to the Super Bowl and then won the Super Bowl. That's super impressive. Just super impressive. So they're probably going to be dangerous. I'm not even going to say they're going to start slow. They have 21 days off. They're just going to heal up Pacheco, the crazy running back like he is.
I like it. And he's the key. Yeah, he's the key. And then bringing in Hunt too. Hunt is that guy, that big running back that's going to get you those tough yards down the stretch. With him and Pacheco in the backfield, man, it's like, and then you got Hopkins, who is just like, man, this is my first time really being in the big show. I'm about to show out. So he, as a receiver, you got to be licking your chops. You're like, man, I got 15 throwing me the rock. Like, oh shoot, let's go.
So, and don't forget about Kelsey. So he's doing his thing still too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they three-peat, man. I really wouldn't be surprised. So you got the Chiefs. You got the Chiefs. So tomorrow night, the Lions and the Commanders.
Woo, man! That's an easy pick.
That's an easy pick.
I got to go with the Lions. It's a home game. They score a lot of points. I know people say Daniel's a great player, going to be a really good player,
right?
But that's going to be an environment he ain't been in yet.
Right.
So it's regular season and playoff football is totally different, and they're playing on the road again. So it's going to be a tough, hostile environment. But Detroit offense just scores too many points, and I don't see the Redskins being able to keep up with them as far as scoring points. Now they have a lot of injuries with Detroit, but they seem to gel, and Glenn is putting those guys.
Aaron Glenn got them cats playing, man, like a pack of wolves. They're all over the place. I don't know how he does it, but man, those cats. So they've had time, obviously, to get a few guys back on the roster. Because they had that whole bye week. So there's going to be a few more guys that are coming back. But now Montgomery's coming back too. He didn't play for three. So they got the two-headed monster running the game. In that running game, I'm saying, running the ball. So, I don't think Washington has seen anything like this. The whooping that Detroit put on the Vikings, that was a
beatdown.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. So, and I don't even like Jared Goff. I don't even like him. He doesn't look right in his uniform. He looks like somebody weird. But they're balling. They're balling. So I agree with you. I agree with the Lions. Eagles Rams Sunday 3:00.
Rams are tough. One thing that the Rams do have on their side is experience, especially on that coaching staff. And you got a quarterback that's won a Super Bowl already. Every year, it seems like the last 3 or 4 years, the Rams always come on late during the season, get healthy, get their guys back. And Matthew Stafford, man, he's a guy that you got to be careful. You know, Nakua is a young star in the rising for the Rams as far as receiving. And then Cooper Kupp, who's a matchup nightmare, the way they use this kid. So the Rams, they got some dudes on defense, man. Those dudes fly around. Cam Curl is a young guy I've known from since high school. And then you got Cornell Lake's son, young Lake, who's also one of the safeties for the Rams as well. So they play good football, but the Eagles, man, if they just run the ball well, control the clock, still got the number one defense. I don't think people really realize that when you got the number one defense, that says a lot. And those guys are going to show up. And so I'm picking the Birds, but you just can't take Matthew Stafford lightly because the guy, he's been there and done that. He's held the Lombardi before.
Right. Do you think what the Rams have had to deal with over the last week and a half or so play a factor into their mindset and even their longevity in the game? Because they had to play in Arizona. A lot of travel. Yeah, they had to play in Arizona because of fires, and then after that they went back to L.A. And then they got to travel, and then they got to deal with whatever it is, whether it's directly or indirectly with the fires, whether it's family, friends, whatever. It's having an impact on that whole area, and then they got to come all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast and play in the cold. It's going to be cold. Yeah. It's going to be snowing. So those things are real. I think humanity has limitations. I think we have limitations sometimes when it comes to pressures and weights and concerns and distractions and things like that. And I just think some of the stuff that's going on right now with them because of where they are is just going to have an impact on them. Like I said, it's a lot of travel, a lot of trauma that they're going through. There's still fires going on. Right. So it's a lot on these guys' mind. But I tell you one thing. If the Eagles would have played them last week, it'd have been tough. They were really riding on that emotional high. But like you said, I just think with all the travel, all the stuff that's going on, but if they still keep that same fire, man, these guys are playing, for their lives, for their, some of these, a lot of these guys lost their homes, their parents and families, and so that'll give you a little extra boost. You're sitting out there and you're a little tired. You're like, man, I got to go hard. Well, like you said, you played like you did, like I did. Play angry. You got to play angry. For the big game. Where'd he go? Uh-oh. He must have gotten another call. He must have got another call. The Bills and the Ravens. It's the last game tomorrow night. Who you got? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. He can't hear me. Let's see if he comes back. I'm going to put me on the screen until I see him. Billy Bell, I see you. Uh-oh, he's coming back. He's back in the green room. He's back. There he is.
I'm back. When you said the Bills and the Ravens, I just started thinking about Derrick Henry, and I just froze up.
What would you do if it was you and Derrick Henry one-on-one?
I was crazy, bro.
I know you was crazy. No, I know we were all crazy. Yeah, you right.
Yeah. I'd have chopped him down low. I don't know why these guys try to tackle him up high. You can't tackle him up at.
Yeah, why did they do that? Why did you just fly right through his knees?
Yeah, it just because he's not very agile.
Right.
I've never seen him really hurdle a player.
Right.
That's just film study right there. That's just I'm gonna bring Derrick Henry down. No, I'm gonna chop them legs off, and hopefully the other 10 guys are swarming to the ball.
Somebody coming, yeah. Get some help. Grab one of the legs. But yeah, they always try to tackle him up high, particularly going down the field, and he mushes them and makes them look bad. It just, it's ridiculous. I guess at some point they'll learn a lesson. Ravens and Bills.
I'm going with the Ravens. I just like the way they, the running game is something that they were lacking. You're going to need to run the ball in Buffalo. Cold weather doesn't, these are both cold weather teams, so you can throw that out of the window.
Right.
Lamar has been way more efficient in his passing. Flowers, hopefully Zay Flowers can go because that'll be
Yeah.
an extra
It's like,
weapon for him to use to stretch the field.
yeah, it's
But
like
they
if
have two really good tight ends, and in games like this, those tight ends are big time in these
yep,
games. So
yep.
the Bills, the Ravens don't have the best pass defense, and the Bills can really pass the ball, Josh Allen. But man, I'm going with Lamar, man. I'm going with the Ravens in this one.
And the Bills, Josh, their offensive line is just mediocre. The Bills. Yes, they do have a great passing game, but the weather, I think, is going to have an impact on that. It's supposed to be snowing up there and the wind blowing and gusts and all that kind of stuff. And that has an impact on the passing game. You're not going to be able to throw the ball down the field accurately. You can throw short passes, slants and quick outs and 12-yard curls, but that stuff down the field is not going to be there if the wind is blowing and the snow is coming down and it's frigid cold. So yeah, I'm going with the Ravens too, bro. Going with the Ravens too. Well, listen, bro, I appreciate you. I know you got something else to do.
Yeah.
I apologize for holding you.
Oh, no worries. I owed you that, man. I owed you that, man. I owed you that.
Listen, you don't owe me nothing, brother. You don't owe me nothing. I love you. I appreciate you. Great man. Listen, y'all put your hands together. Again, that's automated. So my man Mark McMillian. You can find him. Are you on Instagram?
Yep, Instagram is Mark McMillian. Twitter or McMillian29 on Instagram. Twitter is Mark McMillian, and GrillinMcMillian.com is my website. So you can find all my socials on there, man. Come on over to the gram, man. Check me out. You can see all the stuff I be cooking. So people, every time somebody look at my Instagram, it's like, man, I can't look at that. Every time I look at your Instagram, it makes me hungry. But that's what I want to do. I want to make you hungry.
Yeah, but I can't. If I can't get to you and get your food, that's working against me. But listen, bro, I appreciate you. Go on and do your thing. I'm gonna holler back at you. All right, and enjoy your weekend, brother. All right. Thanks for being on.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, God
Go
bless
Birds.
you. Go Birds. You got it. You got it. All right, y'all. Listen. Great talk. I have great guests all the time. Billy Bell's in the house. Good to see you. Eddie Casper is in the house. Ernest Gibbons was smacked by Hopkins over the middle. Yes, he was. My sister Hope is on. Brother Abrams, what's going on? Brother Abrams, he says, hey, Unc. Vinny Capriati's in the house. What's going on, Marcus? Profan Talk. Mark Hutton, you still in the house, Mark? The podcast with soul. And my mama is here. Listen, I'm going to show these commercials real quick. I'll be right back. I have something I want to tell you. So y'all hold on for a second, and we'll be right back. Got to pay the bills.
Special trip or a night out. Don't bother with the hassle of driving, parking, and traffic. Just call Ed Smooth Transport. One-way or round trips available. We will take you there, and we will also pick you up. Enjoy a night on the town with Ed Smooth Transport. Call us 609-471-2653 or 609-314-6619. Visit our website to take advantage of our monthly specials at www.smooftransport.com. Ed Smooth Transport, where experience meets comfort.
In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, there's a slightly slower pace of living. That's also where you'll find the home of Stoltz Fish Structures, where quality, integrity, and world-class customer service are more than just a way to do business. It's a way of life. From our humble beginning over 40 years ago in a small building, to the modern 65,000 square foot facility of today, we've remained at the forefront of our industry. Everything from gazebos and sheds to garages and pergolas, and everything in between.
That's right, y'all. Stoltz Structures is a 49-year-old family business. Stouffer Structures is a storage, shed, and garage company located in the heart of the Amish country. They ship structures nationwide. You can find them. You can check them out on mysheds.com. They strive to be the undisputed choice of modular garages, sheds, and outdoor living products in the United States while furthering the kingdom of God. Let me move this mic out of the way so you can see my face. Not focusing on my face. There you go. Stouffer Structures is known for their fast delivery, great quality, and great client service. So if you're looking for a garage or a shed or any kind of outdoor living product, Stouffer Structures is the way to go. You can check them out on mysheds.com. And if you let them know the Fryar Place sent you or you mention my name, 10% off of any purchase that you make. Stouffer Structures. What's going on, Billy Bell? Okay, Eddie Casper, Hope Wiley, Brother Abrams, Vincent Capriati, Pro Fan Talk. Shout out Mark Hutton, Mama, Podcast with Soul. Listen, here's what I want to shout out to you. And I'm going to probably say this tomorrow on my Birds Insight with Irving on IG, the B triple IG. Listen, right now, Kellen Moore is being sought out as a head coach by 3 different teams. And he's been allowed, according to the rules, according to the system, to do interviews this week. So he's interviewing for 3 different teams to be the head coach while he's preparing for an NFL playoff game against the LA Rams. Remember a couple of years ago in Super Bowl, Jonathan Gannon supposedly wasn't interviewing to be a head coach. He ended up being the head coach. He still is the head coach. During this period of time, he did it illegally, but they opened up a period of time for these defensive coordinators or for these coaches who are potentially going to be head coaches the following year. They open up this time during the playoff season to be interviewed. And I believe it's a distraction. I mean, put yourself in Kellen Moore's position. I believe most of these coaches, whether they're an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, they want to be a head coach. They're seeking to be a head coach. So now he's got an opportunity. He's talked to 3 different teams. Do you think that's not going to be on his mind? And the time that he's taken to prepare to talk for these teams or, talk to the teams in terms of potentially being their head coach, that's taken away from the time that he should be focusing on or putting in on the game plan for this week's opponent. It's wrong. It's wrong. Look for the play calling. Watch the play calling of Kellen Moore this week when the Eagles play the Rams. If there's any sign of distraction, if there's any sign of confusion, listen, the time that he spent interviewing, even if it was just a few hours, his mind is on that. And you can't tell me his mind is not on from time to time the possibility of being a head coach. If you were in position of being a head coach for an NFL team, do you mean to tell me you wouldn't be thinking about it? Yes, you would. And it would be on your mind constantly. And it's on his mind constantly. And he's supposed to be preparing for a playoff game. Not right. They need to change that rule. They need to change that. But watch out for that this week. That's all I wanted to say. Listen, I'll see y'all next week here at the Fryar Place where the conversations are fire with another great guest next week. I thank you all for your support. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment. Well, you did comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends, all right? We'll see you next week. Make sure you're kind to yourself. Make sure you're kind to other people. We're praying for those people out in California who are affected by the fires. We all know you reap what you sow. That's not what's happening with them. I'm saying that in regards to being kind to yourself and other people because you reap what you sow. But we're praying for the people out in California, their family, their loved ones, those who have lost. We've lost those ones who have suffered loss. God bless you. We're lifting you up. And support them if you can. All right? We're out of here.